mixed martial arts, mixed martial arts, mixed martial arts. Oh, I love it! Let's do this!
Yes!
Fight!
Yes! It's the People's Pre-Fight Show, ladies and gentlemen.
Unprofessional. so unprofessional.
It's all right. It's the first pay-per-view of the year. We're getting all the rust off.
Woo!
UFC 270. We got 2 title fights coming up later on, and the first
Sound
fight
check.
of the night between Kay Hansen and Jasmine Jasudavicius, excuse me, will kick off in around 42 minutes from right now. But we are here to get you ready for this card. In fact, you're going to get us ready for this card because we're going to be answering your questions until the fighters are getting ready to throw the first punches of the evening. So thank you for joining us. I am Mike Heck. We got the Prince of Positivity. It's the year of AK.
Oh, okay, thank you. That's the year of AK, not the year of anyone else, any other sort of animal. Soon to be the year of the tiger, I believe. Yeah, look, first, like you said, we're getting all the kinks out. First pay-per-view of the year. Very exciting. A good-looking top 2. I'm sure people have a lot of. Actually, Mike, if I understand, we don't have to do anything, right? The people answer the questions, and then they also answer each other in the comments, right? We don't do anything, right?
Yeah, we just sit here and we watch the questions pop on screen, and then they discuss amongst themselves.
Great. Easy show.
AK, have we inserted a poll for the main event?
Oh no, I know. Yes,
we're
no.
Gonna win. I think we have to do that.
I'll throw it in. Our poll for yesterday's show for the preview. The live weigh-ins. We asked who is going to pay, who is going to order UFC 270. It was a resounding 74% no, which was not the same as not going to watch. Sounds like a lot of people just have alternate plans to watch the ESPN Plus pay-per-view stream today. But I will throw up the poll. People, please vote who will win in the main event.
I'm going to give a little heck hot take right off the bat here, AK. I'm going to give a heck hot take right now. Of that big percentage, I don't believe most of them. I think it's about 50-50. I think 20% of those people are going to end up buying it tonight.
It will actually buy, not view through nefarious means.
I think 50% will view through nefarious means, or maybe 35%. 15% probably won't watch it at all. But I think of those 72 or 73%, I think 20% of those people are actually going to buy it and say, you know what? You got me. You got me again.
It
was the People's Pre-Fight Show. Casey, how are you, my man? On the ones and twos, you got everybody fired up for this card.
No, doing good, sir. I'm doing good. Took my pre-fight nap. I've had a good day so far. Got some mixed martial arts training in. Then went out, had a little barbecue, took a little nap, and now I'm ready to go. That is a great strategy for a pay-per-view night. So you know how this works for the most part. If you're new to the People's Pre-Fight Show, it is exactly what it says it is. It is your questions. It is your thoughts. We'll react and read the questions, and we'll discuss amongst ourselves, and you guys can react how you see fit. So let's go to the peeps. Let's see what they're saying. All right, here we go.
With 39 minutes and 35 seconds left, hopefully before the first fight begins.
Oh, sorry. That was from last week. Sorry, AK. Sorry.
Was it from last week?
No.
Mm-hmm.
All right, here we go. Here we go. Just comments or questions, what they're.
California Love on the Francis Ngannou train. It's amazing. Yeah, honestly, and listen, I don't think everybody's picking against Francis Ngannou, but it's a little astounding how many people are picking against Francis. And not only that, they're just overlooking Francis. They're just counting him out of this fight. It's kind of shocking. Really is shocking.
I don't recall this ever where someone can go from just this unstoppable just beast of a man to he's definitely gonna lose. It's just very unique. I guess a lot of recency bias. I guess a lot of just that. We'll get to. We have 40 minutes, but maybe the lack of promotional push towards Ngannou himself by the UFC, but I don't know. It's weird, but hey, maybe we might look dumb tonight, But who knows? That's what's so exciting about tonight's fight. So exciting.
Yeah, look, this is what have you done for me lately? What have you done? Ciryl Gane has fought twice since Francis Ngannou's last fight. 10 months is a lifetime in pro sports. It's like 2 lifetimes in MMA. People just have completely forgotten. It was less than a year ago. He just absolutely disintegrated Stipe Miocic, avenged such an embarrassing loss. Maybe embarrassing, but a very lopsided loss. In his first title attempt, and we thought he's climbed the mountain. He's figured it out. Who the hell is going to beat this guy? And all this inactivity and whatever, what it's negotiations and talk of going into boxing. Maybe that's turned some people off, and they're like, oh well, look, this guy's focused. This Ciryl Gane is focused. He comes from the same camp, at least the original camp with Coach Fernando Lopez. He's got everything Ngannou's got, but he's in the moment. He's the more recent champion. He beat Derek Lewis definitively. He's the more technical fighter. Everyone seems to think he's just going to box circles around Ngannou, which I mean is certainly possible, but actually would surprise me. But yeah, really, it comes down to what have you done for me lately? People have just seen Gane compete more recently, and they like the idea that Ngannou is not invincible.
All right.
By the way, for you gambling enthusiasts, Ngannou's still the underdog, plus 125. So take that for what it's worth.
Plus 125. So what is Gane, minus 110? What is it? Just
minus 145.
minus 145.
Oh, that's the same. I think stayed the same as yesterday. Okay, interesting.
Yeah, not much has changed. You can, and depending on where you look, I'm looking at our friends at DraftKings, but there are other places out there where you can get Ngannou at plus 135, plus 140. I mean, it's just so scrumptious.
All right.
Don't bet on MMA. That's my advice, as always.
Mixed perfection. I need you to be honest, Mike Heck. Are you watching the Bengals-Titans game right now? I am not. I'm not at all. Damon Martin.
Does he think you're Damon Martin?
Yeah, our own Damon Martin is definitely watching. I've watched my game. I watched the Patriots. I mean, I watched the Bills play against a team who wore Patriots uniforms, but it wasn't actually the Patriots because that team didn't try last week. But no, I'm not watching the game.
Still
I have no idea what's going on, honestly.
Still stings.
We are a family here at MMA Fighting, though. We are rooting for the Bengals. We are burning that eternal flame for the Bengals, for Damon Martin, and also I guess rooting for the Buffalo Bills as much as I dislike doing so.
No, we're not.
Oh,
No, well, you don't have to, Mike. I'm a family man, so for the sake of our Era Hawani, I will give a slight cheer for the Bills, though I'm not a fan of the Buffalo Bills in general.
All right.
Yeah, if you were a little more classy, I'd root for you fans. I'm not rooting for you. The real key for 6. What do you think about Francis dismissing Johnny Bones, the Johnny Bones fight in the future? We talked about this on the preview show, AK. I talked to Sean about this, asked him, where the confidence level in Jon Jones facing the winner of this fight. As with any Jon Jones discussion, the confidence level can never really be that high because you just never know. He's such a wild card. But do you believe Francis Ngannou when he says, pass? I'm not fighting this guy. I have no interest. I'm moving on.
Yeah, I think he knocks out Ciryl Gane in about 30 seconds, and they offer him the Jon Jones fight publicly at the post-fight press conference, and Ngannou says, no thanks, not interested. No, I mean, I like that he's saying that because he's talked about Jon Jones a lot. I think I was recently going through sort of all the times we've done Jon Jones / Ngannou stories, and there's just so many, and they're only slightly different from each other. There's just incremental as far as how different that what changes there are every few months when it comes up again. So I'm glad. I think he's as tired of it as the rest of us. I think it's at some point he knows it's futile to keep bringing it up, to keep trying to chase it. They both wanted it, they both went it pretty hard last year, and it went nowhere. And they know this. Of course, Jon Jones has other reasons why he can't compete, but for Ngannou, I think it's okay. Well, let me, for one thing, he's focusing on Ciryl Gane, which is the most important thing. Secondly, he knows the big money is in a Tyson Fury matchup. If he could literally get any fight that he could, if he could wave a magic wand and get any fight, it would be Tyson Fury. But he would certainly happily settle for Jon Jones if he ends up getting a new contract with the UFC, and they settle down, and they say your first fight is a title defense against Jon Jones, or even if he loses to Ciryl Gane for some reason, and they say, well, we want Jon Jones to earn the title fight, and he has to go through you, Francis. Francis would jump on that in a second. So he's not chasing it anymore, but he certainly still wants that fight.
I think this is a weird, interesting narrative because I think it's kind of for Francis, we're just kind of everyone's trying to find holes in the armor or whatever. So what if Francis said, "Oh, I can't wait to fight Jon Jones"? Then the narrative's "Oh, he's looking past Gane. He's just thinking about Jon Jones." So
yeah, of course.
I think it's just he has a very, very tough man to defeat in a few hours, or try to defeat in a few hours. So I think there'll be plenty of Jon Jones time talking about Jon Jones in about 12 hours or so. So I think we're good on that.
It's only
And by the
January. Think
way,
about all the
yeah.
Jon Jones stories that are to come. Hopefully, all
Listen,
positive. Fingers crossed.
there's a very I think we could see Jon Jones the first half of the year, if depending on how this fight goes. I do. I mean,
Spicy.
like, again, I have no complete and utter internal knowledge of this, but let's just say the writing's on the wall. Let's see what happens tonight. I mean, again, it's Jon Jones. If Francis wins, things get a little trickier because we have to negotiate like 2 paydays, 2 contracts, and try to make 2 gentlemen happy who feel they deserve a certain amount. Ciryl will probably just be like, "Oh, UFC, you want me to fight this Jon Jones guy? Absolutely, absolutely. Whatever the team needs, I'll be there for you." Francis winning is a different story, and I love it. I can't wait to see how it all unfolds if Francis Ngannou wins this fight, because things are going to get real interesting in the UFC hen house. I can't wait. I can't wait.
So I was sitting around today, you know, just kind of getting excited for the main event and the co-main event. But one thing I really am excited about the main event is that no matter what happens, we've never seen it before. Think about it. Like, no matter in any outcome, we've never seen it before. If because unless Ciryl takes down Ciryl takes down Francis and like holds him down for 25 minutes, but I don't think anyone's expecting that. So if Francis loses, he's gonna lose in a way he's never lost before. If Gane loses, he's gonna lose for the first time ever. So it's just exciting because like my mind. Like, because we've never seen Ciryl knocked out cold. We've never seen Francis knocked out cold. We've never seen Francis get just outpointed for 25 minutes. You know, so this is just an exciting fight. I have no idea what's gonna happen. I'm just like the more, I guess, you know, we've had so many cancellations, COVID, injuries, just stupidness in the world. I think finally after the weigh-ins, I finally got, okay, now, just as an MMA fan, now I can get excited. I feel like it's close enough. I know Jose's like, not until they walk in the cage, but I'm going to take a chance. I think I'm going to go 12 hours out. You know, I can get excited. So, yeah, it's just super good, super exciting.
Yeah,
fight.
this is why we're fans, right? I mean, this is why, look,
Yeah.
we criticize and we critique and we're jaded sometimes. And I mean, we have to talk about this business a lot. So,
Yeah.
you know, there tends to be some negativity, but these are the kind of fights that why we got into it, that uncertainty, the excitement, just seeing 2 big ass MFers get in there, 2 super skilled big ass MFers get in there and fight. This is why we became fans. So this is why it's been such a tricky question all week of like, is this card worth like the $75, you know, the new pay-per-view price? It's like for this one fight, I mean, if you were budgeting and saying I'm only getting 4 events a year, I know it's hard to. There's no way to predict what the next 11 main events will be, but I would say this would have to be one of them. I would assume it would have to be one of them. But again, this is without knowing what is on deck for the rest of the year. But yeah, amazing main event and a great co-main event, which I know we'll talk about.
Obviously, if you can afford $75, I honestly think this is worth it. Obviously, the card as a whole, but the pay-per-view money. 2 title fights between the guys that deserve to be in that fight. Yeah, exciting.
Look, I mean, look. First of all, and we've said this before, you can blame the UFC for a lot of things. You could speak negatively about the UFC and their promotion of this entire card because the promotion of this card has sucked. It's been awful on their end. It's been really bad. However, to blame them for the depth of this card, kind of unfair because this card looked a lot different about a month ago. COVID ravaged it. There were injuries. Things had to get moved around. This is just kind of the world we live in right now. So you don't really blame them that much. We obviously wanted to see Ilia Topuria fight. Can't blame the UFC for that. I mean, hopefully he's okay and we go from there. But listen, the co-main event's great. We get Michel Pereira on pay-per-view, which is always a wild card, could always be fun. And Andre Fiallo is a very good fighter. Cody Stamen, Said Nurmagomedov is a very competitive fight on paper. That is a really interesting fight. One of the more interesting fights on this entire card. And then you got Michael Morales, a guy who has an incredibly high ceiling, taking on the grizzled veteran and Trevin Giles. A really good litmus test, a really tough octagon debut fight. Listen, it's not the greatest of all time on paper, but there are some positives here. And we're going to get Raoni Barcelos versus Victor Henry on ESPN before we go to pay-per-view.
Yeah.
That fight's going to rule. That fight's going to be ridiculous.
I am excited. That's going to be the feat now. That wasn't originally the featured prelim.
Topuria Jourdain was.
Good fight, but this is a solid replacement fight as far as that featured prelim before the. And that's a very important fight because honestly, more eyes are watching that fight than technically probably the pay-per-view because that's gonna be the last fight before the pay-per-view. So the last free fight. But man, just I'm hyped.
Listen, I would tell people the prelims were originally, I remember when they were on Facebook only or whatever, wherever you were able to watch them before, were originally sort of whet people's appetites for the pay-per-view. So maybe treat this kind of like an old school way. If you guys got ESPN or ESPN2, whatever it is, however it is you guys watch in the US, we'll have it on Fight Pass and TSN talking about the prelims up in Canada. If you're already have this channel, check it out, watch the prelims, and if it whets your appetite for the pay-per-view, I'd say go for it. I'd say let the prelims guide your decision if you're on the fence tonight. If you're definitely not going to watch the pay-per-view, then I don't think there's any harm in it. Again, watch the excellent coverage on MMAfighting.com. We'll have you covered there. But if you're kind of 50-50, maybe the prelims, if it's a really good group of prelims, maybe that have your finger ready on that buy button.
All right.
Yes,
So
join us after the card, and we'll tell you everything that happened.
Well, spoilers and everything.
Taylor Christian, does Stipe get the next title shot, or will they make him fight another contender?
Ooh.
Thank you, Taylor, because not a lot of mention of Stipe Miocic's name.
who is that? I was going to ask you this guy. I don't know who this guy is.
Who's Stipe?
Who's this
Stipe guy?
Yeah, Michael
REM?
Stipe. Yeah.
I love REM.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Very good. I don't know if he gets the next title shot. I think he's in play, but if you could put a percentage on this, AK, 20% maybe?
Oh, I'm just trying to think if Ciryl Gane wins. I mean, they probably would just book a rematch, or they'd want to book a rematch. Well, I don't know, but we don't know if Ngannou would want to do a rematch. He might just want to be free and say, well, I lost. I'm out. See ya. It's not unreasonable. When I saw the question, I was like, would they? But, I mean, I think he's consensus among us. Stipe has to be no lower than 4th, unless you're Jed Meshew, where he's probably somewhere 7th or 8th in your rankings or something behind, again, Valentin Moldavsky. So it's not unreasonable, and Stipe has held out before, kind of, and gotten his title fight. He held out, the Cormier trilogy. He got that fight back when he won it. Boy, and look, who else is there? Derek Lewis, no, wouldn't get it right away. Curtis Blades, does he have a fight booked? He has a fight booked, right?
He's coming off a loss, isn't he?
He's won, but I think he has a fight booked, if I'm not mistaken. I could be crazy.
And
then I'm just looking down there. Jairzinho, Volkov, Tabora, Dacus. I mean, maybe Aspinall, if he has a big win in his next one, just jumps up. But Stipe is still super highly ranked. He is a known name, not like a major pay-per-view draw, but definitely a known name. So it's possible. And of course, Jon Jones would be the number one option if everything perfect worked out for the UFC. Right. But again, you can't rely on him these days for anything. So I'll say Stipe probably will have to fight another contender. That'd just be my guess. But a lot of stuff has to shake out at heavyweight over the next 2 months.
I'm kind of guessing that obviously Stipe, Jon Jones, and whoever takes less money. I mean, not to oversimplify it, but it's gonna be a money thing for the UFC. Obviously, but Stipe, is like every heavyweight fight that happens, is he become less and less more relevant? Because it seems like Jon Jones, even though Jon Jones has fought, I don't know how long is it. It's been how long has it been for Jon Jones? Almost 2.
It's February of 2020. So
Dominic
2
Reyes.
years.
Wow.
2
That's
years.
crazy.
It's gonna be
That's
over
crazy.
2 years. But the Jon Jones hype is still there. But the Stipe, like Jon Jones, I feel like people are still craving Jon Jones, but Stipe, the longer he's gone, the longer we kind of just forget about him. But it doesn't seem to be working. Jon Jones the appetite's still there. Am I reading that right? Do you feel? As far as
I mean, Jon Jones spent the year just getting gigantic, and he was brought up in every single press conference to Dana White. Is Jon Jones going to fight? Dana said the same thing literally every single interview. Jon said he's not fighting until 2022, so I'm not going to talk about Jon Jones fighting until 2022. Stipe, I believe he just had a second child not too long ago, so he wanted to take a little time off for that. I know there was talks about him wanting to put on some extra size to bulk back up, because I know he trimmed down quite a bit for the last 2 DC fights and then the Francis fight. But, man, AK, you and I have talked about this and on to the next one a few different times. I feel like Derek Lewis did him such a big favor after he knocked out Chris Dacus. I want to fight Stipe. I feel like that was a winnable fight for Stipe. It's a name that draws attention, that people like.
That was a perfect fight.
That was a perfect fight for Stipe to come back to.
For both of them.
Yeah, if you're not going to come back, if the UFC is just like, dude, we're not giving you a title shot, you got to win another fight. I felt like Derek Lewis calling his name was the perfect like 1B plan. You go in there and you beat Derek Lewis, you put him away, you're right at the top of the list. Like, you're in the discussion at least. And you should be in the discussion. If the world were fair, he'd be in the discussion every time we have this conversation. But unfortunately, he is not. Absence not always makes the heart grow fonder when it comes to individual fighters. For the promotion, yes. For individual fighters, most of the time that is the case. So tough spot for him to be in. I think he should take another fight, and we'll see. If something happens and Lewis or Ty can't fight, maybe Lewis wants to turn around quick and get in there and try to get a win. But I think he's got to get back in there before everyone starts shouting out his name. He should be getting a title shot. It sucks to say that, but that's kind of the position he's in right now.
If Tuivasa beats Derek Lewis, he could get the title shot. Again, we talked about Aspinall. He's got to fight if he's going to win. Alexander Romanov, undefeated guy. So there are options for the UFC outside of Stipe Miocic. Maybe not as appealing at first glance, but again, 6 months from now, like you said, Stipe's name loses luster. These guys get some big wins. Their names elevate up. The UFC has options. They don't have to wait for Stipe Miocic.
Yeah, listen, Curtis Blades is there. Stipe wants to fight Curtis Blades. That's another fight he could take because Curtis does not have a fight right now. Yeah, so I mean, there's options.
All
right. David Sandine has Air Jordan commented on the fight getting canceled. The only thing I've seen was, he just said, I made 145. I did my job. Yeah. Couldn't step on the scale. And that's really all we heard. He's added people like kind of standing up for him on Instagram on his stories anytime someone says something nice about him. But any info if Charles got paid to show money? I assume so.
I would hope so.
I assume he did.
Yeah,
his manager never responds, and I did ask, and he never got back to me. I assume he's getting his show money.
Yeah, it sounds like he made weight, and the only reason he didn't step on the actual scale is because of a commission thing. But it sounded like behind the scenes, behind the curtain, the UFC was aware he did his job. So let's hope he get paid. That would be a big bummer.
And he took the fight on like less than 2 weeks' notice. So
I know. The with the border and everything, and modern times. I know they had to pull a lot of strings. It was a big hassle to get here and make the weight and do all that. Not just Jordan, coaches and everything. So it's a thing.
Four Corner Sports and Moreno gets the victory. Is his next fight in Mexico? That is an interesting question. But I mean, you can kind of make the argument that he's gotten like the second and third best options outside of that, right? The Glendale fight, this fight in particular in Anaheim.
Man, this is Mexico, man. This is, it's like Jose say, like he's never seen so many Mexicans at a weigh-in, So this is about as hometown as you can get from Moreno about him actually fighting in Tijuana. So
people should watch the official weigh-ins from yesterday. It was insane. The first 10 minutes when Figueiredo and Moreno weighed in, it was we've never seen people that loud at an official morning weigh-in before. So that was wild. My only question is, so this would be, they've never had a pay-per-view in Mexico, I don't think.
Yeah, they did. Mexico City.
Which one was
they've
it?
had Kane.
Cain Velasquez, Verdun one, right?
Verdun, Mark Hunt. Was it Verdun, Mark Hunt?
Oh, wow. 2015. Okay, yeah.
It's been a while. It's been a while. Because I know
UFC
the TV deal is different now. So that's why they're not. Yeah.
So they could go there again. So that has a capacity of over 20,000 people. So it is an option, because it would have to be a pay-per-view now at this point. Moreno has headlined a fight night card in Mexico, but not a pay-per-view yet. So yeah, that'd be interesting. It would have to be a big pay-per-view show. I would hope so. I mean, you could have him headline a fight night card, certainly, but.
Even if Moreno loses in an exciting way to Figueiredo, there could be a fourth fight. And if they run that fourth fight as maybe a main event, possibly a main event in Mexico City. Now, the problem with Mexico City is a lot of fighters do not want to fight there because of the elevation. It's just fighters do not want to fight there, and totally understandable. Talk to Angela Hill about it. She just still has nightmares when she fought in Mexico City. Cain Velasquez, C-level Kane came from that fight. So
yeah, that's right. That's right. How can I forget?
Yeah. So that's always the issue of Mexico City. But they've had fight nights in other cities in Mexico too.
Yeah, they've had fight.
Yeah, the Yair Jeremy Stevens one that ended in chaos was in Mexico.
So
was that also in Mexico City though?
No, that was Mexico City. That was Monterrey.
Oh no,
I can't. I'm not sure what it was.
There's been Monterrey. Those are two cities in Mexico. Yeah. Certainly possible.
I'd like to see it, especially if he wins. If he loses and I'm Figueiredo, because they're going to go to the quadrilogy or wherever. If I'm Figueiredo, I'm like, nah, dude. You want to do this again? We're going to my neck of the woods. We're going to Rio on May 7th, and we'll do it there.
I don't know. They get taxed a lot more there, so maybe the taxes are different. We'll figure.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
that's
a lot of and that's why a lot of fighters
James
don't like going to Brazil too, because there's taxes issues. They lose a lot of money. All right.
Yep. Dom Elliott, where does Pantoja fit into the flyweight title picture? Only guy to finish Moreno, albeit on tough. Now, from all accounts, and I've had conversations with Moreno's manager about this, before the UFC pulled the trigger on this Figueiredo trilogy fight, the initial plan was they were going to do Pantoja, because Pantoja got 2 wins over Moreno. Makes a lot of sense. Pantoja was coming off a big win in his last fight. That was kind of the fight everyone was looking at. But Pantoja's hurt. I think there was a surgery involved. He's going to be back sometime this year. There is even talks. I even heard this, and I don't know how truthful this is, but there were talks about Pantoja fighting Petr Yan for the interim bantamweight title when they were trying to scramble after Aljamain Sterling was unable to fight at UFC 267. Pantoja was a name the UFC was actually looking at for that card. But again, the surgery and all that stuff, he couldn't do it. So I think Pantoja, kind of bad luck for him, because he probably would have got this title shot if he wasn't hurt. But I think he's probably going to have to get another win, especially with this Askarov Kai Kara France fight coming up in March. You got to think the winner of that's going to be next in line, more than likely, unless something crazy happens and like Cejudo somehow gets his way into a 125-pound title fight. Like, other than that, yeah, I think Pantoja's a win away. He's definitely at the top of this conversation, AK. At least that's what I think.
Yeah, after Pantoja's last one, I know we were pushing pretty hard for. Let's say they said let's just give Pantoja the title shot. Yes, Askarov beat him, but he also sort of he fought once more after Pantoja. He missed weight, so we're like, okay, that doesn't like remove him from the equation entirely, but maybe this just slightly puts him behind Pantoja, just because it never looks good to give someone a title shot off a weight miss. It happens, but if you have a choice, an excellent choice in Pantoja, why would you do it? Askarov also, of course, was also apparently not ready to fight in January, which is why we ended up with this trilogy. But I know a lot of people complaining, why are they running this fight again? Askarov and Pantoja are right there. It's like they just weren't ready. And if the champ wants to fight and get paid, what are you going to tell him? Oh no, we're just going to keep pushing it back. He's ready. The number 2, probably the second best flyweight in the world, is ready. You throw him in there. So, yeah, I think Pantoja still looks good. As Mike mentioned, if obviously if Kai Kara France beats Askarov, then that bumps Askarov back, and I think that makes Pantoja the clear-cut guy, if not Kai Kara France. So Pantoja might have to fight again. If I'm me and Moreno wins, I would love it if they just set up the Pantoja fight. But I don't know. He may have to fight one more time to keep a spot in line.
And we gotta admit too that the UFC like trash talkers, and Figgy will give that to them. And hey, as cringy as it was, Figgy did bring excitement to that. He built up drama. He built up. I don't know. I'm being
and
positive.
the magical devil on his shoulder.
Yeah.
That was,
the one ear pod.
In the one earpiece.
Yeah, ear pod.
Inspiring him.
It's like, we can see the earpiece. Wrong side. It's like, but that is a concern for the UFC in itself, because Askarov, Pantoja just aren't those guys that are gonna sell a fight. They're amazing fighters, but clearly being an amazing fighter isn't enough sometimes to get a title shot. So that.
But right now, you didn't really need that with this fight, because
I
Moreno
agree.
just a feel good moment. You didn't need it. If Moreno goes out there and finishes him again, like, Moreno looks even more like a star, like a even bigger star, because of the pop he's going to get at the Honda Center. So, yeah. And with the whole Askarov thing, AK, I think you'll agree with me on this. Obviously there's exceptions to the rule, but I don't like guys getting title shots after they miss weight. I don't. No. And Askarov's got to show me he can make 126 before he can fight for the title. So we'll see what happens in March.
I agree.
Great fighter. A little blip there.
My good friend Tristan Gordet. After listening to Stamen on We Got Next, you think he's underrating Saeed's takedown defense as well as his grappling. Feel like Stamen isn't concerned about that part of Saeed's skill set. And I don't know. Saeed has pretty decent takedown defense. Cody's a very good wrestler, and if he wants to wrestle and if he wants to take this down, he's the better wrestler in this fight. There's just no doubt about it. Saeed is the better striker. He's got a really good reach advantage. I think it's like 6.5 inches, maybe right around. It's between 6 and 7 inches. It's a pretty big advantage, especially at 135 pounds. So I think the thing that really stuck out the most is just how much pressure Stamen is putting on himself, because he thinks it's do or die. He feels like if he goes out there and loses this fight, he might not have a job at the UFC. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think there's still a spot on this roster for him. I don't think he makes like 6 figures a fight to fight for the UFC. So it's not like and he still gets somewhat of a name. Like, look at the guys he's fought. So yeah, I don't know. He's putting a lot of pressure on himself. And when he has these types of fights and he feels like when he has those chips on his shoulders and he has that extra pressure, he feels like he performs at his best. So maybe this is something he's just doing for himself. Who knows? But what do you think about that, AK? Do you feel like with the 2 straight losses, do you feel like Stamen could potentially be fighting for his job? Do you think it's that dire for him?
I do think so. He also has the misfortune of being a guy who goes to decisions a lot, and not that his fights are boring. He's been in plenty of great fights. But the UFC has this perception of like they want to see you finish. They want if you're not gonna get into all out fight of the night brawls all the time, then they want to at least see you get like a few finishes here and there. And he just hasn't been able to finish fights. He's faced a lot of tough competition. I mean, if you look at who he's fought, you'd be like, well, you'd understand why he hasn't finished a lot of these guys. But he's in that mid range, and I think internally for him. Why he's put so much pressure on himself. I think, he'd have to look inward if he lost 3 straight fights against good guys like Jimmy Rivera, Dvalishvili, and now Saeed Nurmagomedov, who I think rankings wise would be behind those guys. In his mind, he's definitely thinking to himself, man, where am I in my career? Forget if the UFC wants me back. It's like, what does this mean for me? Am I just a journeyman? Am I a mid-tier guy? Am I never going to get over that hump and win some of these like close decisions and become a top 10 guy? Because he's fought top 10 guys. And he's been ranked by the UFC, but he's not a top. He just hasn't proven he's a top 10 guy himself. And I think for a fighter, that's really tough. And that kind of also goes with Tristan's question of, do I think he's underrating his takedown defense? And it's like, no, but he has to put in his head that my wrestling is going to win me the day, because he will not win a striking battle with Saeed Nurmagomedov. 9 times out of 10, I mean, it's MMA, anything can happen. He's not going to win a striking battle with Saeed Nurmagomedov. So he has to go into this fight thinking my wrestling is going to be a huge factor. It's going to be way too. If I get my wrestling game off, this is my fight. I'm going to win. So this is just that fighter's mentality. He has to be really have this tunnel vision on where his career is going, and also how he's going to win this particular fight. So it's not that he's not concerned. It's just that in his mind, he has to know that this is going to work. That this plan is going to work. There's no other option. It has to work, or he doesn't know what he's going to do. Should he take another loss?
Casey, here's how Stamen laid it out for me. And he goes like, I hope Saeed's listening, because I'm just going to tell him exactly what I'm going to do. My plan is to go out there and punch this man in the face as hard as I can, as many times as possible. March forward and just throw the hardest punches possible at him, because he feels like he's susceptible to getting clipped and he leaves himself open for big shots. And then he said, and if that doesn't work, I'm just going to take him down. And I believe the exact quote was, I'm going to ride him like a horse for 15 minutes. So that's the way he's looking at it. He feels like he can land a big shot and just rattle Saeed. He does a technical kickboxing match. He doesn't think he's going to win with Saeed Nurmagomedov, but if he goes out there and pressures him and lands a big shot, thinks he can change the complexion of the fight. And for some reason that doesn't work, he feels like the wrestling's there. So is his game plan is this the right strategy?
Punch him hard, and if that doesn't work, hold him down. I mean, it's a strategy, yes. I mean,
when you put it like that, right?
I get it. Stamen had a little pizzazz to it, but essentially, I'm gonna punch him. If it doesn't work, I'll hold him down. Whatever, I win. But I do think this is, unfortunately for Cody, I do think this is a winner go home type of night for him. It'd be 3 straight losses. Saeed's not ranked in the top 15, top 20. Cody's had a good run in the UFC, and he needs to win this fight tonight. It's 3 losses, and like I said, his wins can be kind of on the boring end for the UFC. I mean, he's a great wrestler, but that's not what the UFC wants. So I think he needs a big win tonight. Yeah, punch him hard. If it doesn't work, hold him down. You gotta get that W tonight. That W is just so important for Stamen, or he has to be in the fight of the night, which is gonna be difficult with that flyweight fight right after him. So. Yeah, that's my feeling on Cody Stamen.
Yeah, and I think him being a dog is a pretty sizable dog is interesting as well. Plus 150 with the guys he's fought and the experience he has. Not a bad, wouldn't be a bad line to take a look at, in my opinion. Yep. But Saeed's very, very good.
Yes.
Javon, what's the most meaningful fight on the card for unranked fighters?
Guys, great questions today. Damn, you guys always have great questions.
You guys are on fire. Good
These
Lord.
are really good questions. The most, oh my goodness.
Casey, I'm starting with you on this one. Most meaningful fight on the card for unranked fighters.
Oh, this one's easy for me.
Oh yeah, right.
Barcelos versus Henry. That's just gonna be that will be an exciting fight, and more importantly, if Victor Henry wins, he is. I know we didn't get to see very much media wise this week because of the two title fights, but he is a great personality. Like I said in the previous show, great taste in music too, and I think that matters. But he's just an exciting fighter, and if he wins, I think the UFC will definitely push him just as he's just a fun personality and exciting grappler and just an exciting fighter overall. So I think by far that's the most meaningful fight, and I think both those guys have the potential to be. I don't want to say win the championship, but they'll be future contenders. They'll be. I guess see both those guys being top 5 fighters if everything goes well for them. That's why.
And what else? Yeah. What else? You forgot one thing.
Oh well,
he has great taste in music.
Yeah, great taste in music. Great taste in music. Yeah, it's just he just play some. Throw his Microsoft Zune and just play whatever. Just. I don't know why I would have that Zune.
Yeah, I don't know if it's I don't know if that's the most meaningful fight, but dude, that's a tough fight for Barcelos, man. There's not a lot to gain from a fight when Victor Henry is just full of chaos. That's a tough ask when you're a guy who arguably should be undefeated in the UFC.
Yes,
the Timur Valiev fight. I still think Barcelos didn't lose that fight. I don't think he lost that fight, but it is what it is. AK, what's your most meaningful unranked fighter fight?
I mean, I'm definitely fascinated by the Kay Hansen, Jasudavicius fight, but if only because I think Kay Hansen is so young. I always every time she fights, I wonder, are we seeing the beginning of someone who could be someone who started when she was 19, turned pro at 19, fought for Invicta, and we've covered her many sort of personal
and been televised, not just hidden on small regional cards.
No.
From her first fight, it's been kind of a featured fighter.
Yes. And she's fought good fighters. She's fought Jin Yu Fry, who's who's so much more veteran than her, so much more experience. And again, her personal story. I mean, it's a real roller coaster. We've covered her for at least for years. I mean, probably since she first. A lot of us have, and you wonder if she gets her head on. If I shouldn't say get her head on straight. Excuse me. If she can get everything sorted out mentally, physically, in the gym, everything just right. Is she a real contender someday? She's just so young. So that's fascinating to me. But I actually also really like Trevin Giles dropping down to 170. People are calling this the worst main card opener ever. Okay, whatever. Like we said, it wasn't originally supposed to be on the main card. It just ended up there. Michael Morales, a very good looking prospect of the Contender Series. I understand people might be expecting him to just truck Trevin Giles, but I thought Giles had some really good moments at middleweight, and maybe he really was just sort of undersized for that weight class. And a drop to 170 is what kind of opens up the rest of his game and his real potential. So I've always kind of been a fan of him, and I'm interested to see if he can beat an undefeated prospect in Morales. I think it's going to kind of remind people why Giles himself was, pretty well liked coming into the UFC and just, a 50-50 guy at middleweight, maybe at 170, a potential guy who could move up the rankings soon. So I like that one. I'm going to give some love to the de facto main card opener.
Yeah, it's a pretty good choice. I would say. I
mean, it's no Michael Chandler versus Justin Gaethje, but it could be just as good. Yeah,
6 of 1. I mean, 6 of 1. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of tough. I kind of like the Matt Frevola Genaro Valdez fight, just because the way Frivola's last fight went, just getting bolted by Terrence McKinney, making his debut. Valdez, he's a teammate of Brandon Moreno, so he's going to be the guy that's going to sort of try to set the table for Moreno and that team. There you go. See? And here's the thing. Valdez is a monster, and he has terrific power. And we've seen Frevola, just like the McKinney fight, and we've seen him in other fights, you hit him clean, he might drop. But if he doesn't, if the fight gets extended into the second and third round, that guy is an absolute dog. And he gets better as these fights go, and he gets a little more gnarly as these fights go. So I think that's going to be a really good fight. That is a low-key nominee for Fight of the Night, in my opinion. And nobody's talking about it. So I'll say just to mix things up, and just because I think it's gonna be a good fight. Is it going to be the powerful finisher in Valdez, or is it going to be the dogma Frivola extending this and taking him into deep waters and getting the vet win? Love it. It's going to be a good fight.
Okay. Yeah, it's like there's a comment here. I just like it.
My roommate's Mexican MMA because of Ngannou, then fell in love with Moreno. He's so good for MMA. Hope he repeats a second fight tonight and still. Well said, Garrett. Yeah. Yes, Brandon Moreno is, and I've said this many times, and I'll say it again. Brandon Moreno is my favorite interview in the sport, and there is no second place. Like it's Moreno, and then there's like fourth, fifth place and below.
Yeah, a couple other people. Yeah,
the guy's just so jovial. Like you can't help but be in a better mood, even if you're just sitting across a computer screen from him.
For me, Brandon Moreno is like he's one of the guys why I love MMA because he is such a unique personality, but at the same time, I don't want everyone to be like Moreno. I want some guys to be grumpy, bad interviews, or just jerks, or Moreno. That's what makes mixed martial arts so freaking fun, because all these fighters have it's just like there's 50,000 ways to fight MMA. There's 50,000 type of personalities in this sport, and Brandon Moreno is one of them, and it's just so exciting. And just, I mean, the fight itself is going to be amazing, but just the clash of personalities is great too. And yeah, there's only one Brandon Moreno.
I just want to update our poll here. 57% saying and still for the undisputed heavyweight champion Francis Ngannou. So not overwhelming, not overwhelmingly in favor of the champ, but 57% Ngannou, and a lot of votes. A lot of people voting. So
what a difference a day makes.
But I mean, keep in mind these people are not the same people necessarily who bet on fights, right? There's all kinds of different audiences, right? If you ask the people who gamble, I don't know, maybe there's a lot, like we said, it's just like, it could be 60% gone. And we said on Tapology, Casey, it was something like 50-something% gone, right? It was the other way, right?
Yeah,
gone as of yesterday. Yeah.
Let me take a look at it right now.
So I don't know. Hey, listen, our viewers are pretty astute. I always tell people
it's getting closer. It's getting closer. Now it's only 54%
oh, wow.
for gone.
So it's almost a pick 'em. It's almost a pick 'em for fans. Even for us, 57% is not overwhelming.
We're getting it right. We're getting it right.
Yeah, but look,
no, it should be. It's a 50-50 fight.
Yeah, I agree. Fight. I agree.
Very hard to predict. Yeah.
All right.
I love it. And that's
just
what makes
enjoy
it
it.
so
Just
good.
enjoy it.
Hole and dance talk. Question: percentage of Gane win by submission, given Francis' not great ground game. But do we know? Like, his wrestling defense has certainly improved. Ask Stipe about that. That sprawl was the scariest sprawl in MMA history.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So who knows? Like, a year, 10 months is a long time.
Yeah. We just learned this from Calvin Kattar. Calvin Kattar out for a year. He came back a better fighter. Francis Ngannou, yeah, we may not have seen him, but he is going to enter that cage a better fighter than we saw him last time. I have no doubt of that.
The only thing I'll think of, and I always tell people, don't bet on MMA, is I wonder if you're a gambler and someone who bets on MMA regularly, is the most horrifying thing when a fighter hurts a guy on the feet, like stings him and rocks him, and gets his back on the ground and then's like kind of pounding away, and like depending on whether you bet for knockout or sub, are you just panicking the whole time, like, oh god, like referee, please get in there and wave it off, or vice versa, like, oh no, he's going for the choke, no, don't choke him, punch him out. Like, that has to be that's why I can't understand people gambling on MMA. Like, it has to be the most horrible experience. When a fighter looks like they're about to win, and it could easily be either submission or knockout, and you're just like, you have no idea which way it's going to go. So, because I could see that. I could see Gane hurting Francis with like a counter, and Francis just rocked. Or in the later rounds, maybe Francis is tired, and Gane gets on the ground there, and then takes the back and gets like a rear naked choke, right? But it's so weird. It's just really, really difficult to predict. So I'll go 25%. I'll go like 1 in 4 chance. I don't think it's unrealistic at all.
That'd be interesting.
That'd
Considering
be crazy.
Yeah, I don't see that, but I'll give it 10%. 10%. I'm interested.
By the way, for those wondering, Ciryl Gane wins by submission plus 800. So if you're
what is Francis?
Don't bet on MMA.
What is Francis?
Take a guess.
I'm going 2,200.
Exactly 2,200. It's plus 2,200.
Wow.
Wait, what was that? What was that, Casey? Which one? Well, that was
odds of Francis winning by submission plus 2,200.
Francis. Oh yeah. Again, it would have to be he hurts in Gane. Like the only
Francis
way
does have a submission. I think he got a Kimura on
Sure.
Anthony Hamilton a while back.
I kind of remember that actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, but again, either guy, I feel like it would be hurt them on the feet, try to finish them on the ground, and then maybe a choke, like a choke.
Yeah, it would definitely.
But
If either one gets a submission, it'll come after like some hellacious ground and pound.
that's what I think.
Where they're like, just take my arm, take it. One
So
of
here's-
those
one of the-
submissions.
So this is actually kind of interesting, okay? If you want to hedge in some way, like in a prop betting style, this is interesting. The line on Francis Ngannou to win by knockout is plus 150. It's pretty good odds. You're getting plus money at that. Ciryl Gane by decision is plus 250. So you could put some shekels on Francis by knockout, and you could put some shekels on
Either one.
Gane by decision, and you're going to get plus money either way.
Yeah, that's a.
I'm sure I'm not the first person who's seen this and thought of
Both
this,
sides.
but
Yeah.
I'll just keep you
but
updated.
it's
We do.
interesting to see it.
They're not walking out yet. We can chat a bit longer, guys. I do not see any. I'll let you know if they put on a clock. Sometimes for pay-per-views, they'll put on the clock for when the first fight is coming. I imagine it'll be soon because they only have an hour. They have 2 fights and they have an hour until. Oh, but it's all prelims, so it doesn't really matter. They can sort of, they can sort of play around with it.
I'm looking. I have it on right now, so I'm watching.
I'm focused on this next comment, but more focused on the first part of this, the first question on this.
Slamerican 989. Do any of you think the broadcast will mention the contract issue or how it may be the last fight for Ngannou? Under.
It's Rogan. Rogan's kind of wild sometimes. I think.
It wouldn't shock me. Over under 2.5 mentions, Casey.
Oh, under 2.5. But I think Rogan will throw it out there. DC's not gonna get near it. But I think Rogan will. It's Rogan in DC tonight, right?
Rogan DC, Anakin.
Yeah, I think Rogan will make a small mention of it, but during like maybe the walkout or something like that. But like mid
2.5 now.
Yeah, I'm going under 2.5, but I do think there will be a mention.
I agree. I'm going under, but it will be mentioned.
Yeah.
2.5 for the entire night.
Under. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not disagreeing. I'm curious.
Yeah.
And one thing, someone will mention it, and then a producer will get in their ear after, like, "Oh, try not to, guys, steer away."
Well, that's why I said DC would not mention
Dana
it.
White said it a few times. Dana said it himself a few times.
Dana White. He can say whatever he wants. He has no filter.
If they're smart, they will talk about it during the prelims on ESPN.
Yeah.
Like that's how you should be selling this fight.
Could this be the last time
we're going to see Francis fight in the UFC?
But have they ever really talked about a fighter that way? I know this is a very unique situation, but I'm trying to think.
It's a tricky thing to do.
I never recall them saying anything like that.
They're always weird to even acknowledge things happening outside of the UFC universe, as it were.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Maybe
they've gotten better about it.
If it's like retirement, it's different. But it's straight up like I'm leaving the UFC.
We have walkouts. Jasmine the pride of St. Catherine's. Jasmine Jasudavicius is pumped up. This is crazy.
All right,
I'm just saying. Okay.
Can we do our? We got no time.
Yeah, we'll do.
We have plenty of time.
We'll do some final picks.
Yeah.
Jasudavicius, enemy territory, which has basically done her entire career. So,
all right.
Okay, let's get into this thing. Let's just do. Screw it. Let's go after it. AK Morales or Giles?
I'm going Giles.
Casey.
I'm going Giles. I think he looked great at 170. I think he'll do well.
I think Giles squeaks out a decision, but it's going to be a competitive fight. Cody Stamen, Said Nurmagomedov, AK.
Nurmagomedov decision. He's just going to do more damage.
Casey.
Same. Going Nurmagomedov.
I think it's a 50-50 fight, and I'm going with the dog, Cody Stamen, to get it done. I just think the experience factor is going to play a significant role here. The level of competition is way stronger with Cody Stamen. Michel Pereira, Andre Fialho, Casey.
Prayer, Michelle by 30 backflips, and then eventually he'll land on him.
Okay.
Yeah, obviously Pereira, second round knockout, Street Fighter style hurricane kick. Yeah.
Pereira decision. I think Fialho's gonna give him some problems, but I think Pereira will get it done. All right, flyweight title. Brandon Moreno, Deiveson Figueiredo, AK.
Moreno decision. Good, another good fight, closer to their first one, but a convincing decision win for Moreno this time.
I'm being hopeful because I want an exciting fight. I'm going Moreno decision, I think Figgy's weight cut was. We're gonna see the best version of him. We will also see the best version of Moreno, and I think the best versions of each fighter. Moreno will win a very close decision.
I got Moreno decision as well, but I could see a late stoppage from Moreno as well. Francis Ngannou, Ciryl Gane. Raise your hand if you're picking a new champion. Raise your hand if you're picking still champion. There you go. All right,
guys.
Kay Hansen.
Not a lot of disagreement.
Kay
We're all pretty much on the same page here, except for the Stamen fight, I think. But
Yep.
Yeah, look, it's
All
be
right,
fascinating no matter what.
Have fun, everybody. We'll see you on the other end. We'll have a live stream. Yes, we'll have the live. Casey and I will be back after the event for the press conferences. So join us for that. We'll have some commentary in between. I'm sure it'll be just a glorious night of post-fight interviews. God, I'm not looking forward to it. But Casey, I'm looking forward to talk to you. And then we'll recap the event on the live post-fight show shortly thereafter that. So enjoy the fights. We'll see you on the other end. Go ahead, AK.
I may not be on the post-fight, but I will say, guys, remember, we got a live on to the next one Sunday morning. What time, Mike? Do we know? Around
11 a.m. Eastern.
Oh my goodness!
11 a.m.
8 a.m. local time in California. So, but yeah, guys, we got live. So I don't know if I'll be post fight, but please tune into our on to the next one. We're doing some of those live now after pay-per-views. So please join us Sunday morning.
Enjoy the fights, everybody. We'll see you on the other end.
Happy birthday, AK.
It's not my birthday. It's not the year of the raw dog.
Ooh.